Good evening and welcome to Team Talk. I'm Harry Peat. Here's tonight's lineup. Highlights from the Kent Hockey Derby, the best of the weekend's football action, and who comes out on top in our goal of the month. But first tonight, both the men's and women's teams faced off in a Kent Hockey Derby on Saturday as Holcombe entertained Canterbury. Here's a look at what happened.
Canterbury returned to outdoor action in good form after they reached the indoor Super Sixes final the weekend just before. Holcombe were looking to get their second half of the campaign off to a quick start. They almost went ahead in the opening minutes, but came up against a resilient Helen Fagg in the Canterbury goal, a story that would continue throughout the match. The green and white stopper was on hand to deny Holcombe once again from this penalty corner. Second half, same story, Fagg again blocking Holcombe's penalty corner. But then the breakthrough for Holcombe. This penalty corner broke down and found its way to Ellie Watton. Her flick was illegally blocked on the line by Mel Clulow, with the resulting penalty being converted by Olympic gold medalist Nicola White. Holcombe continued on the attack to look for that second goal to finish off the match, but once again they were thwarted by the Canterbury keeper. Then, with less than 10 minutes to play, Holcombe were made to pay for those missed chances. Grace Broadston stepped up to grab a leveller for Canterbury in a game that had been about good keeping. Grace Laws will be disappointed that she didn't do better with this effort. The result sees Holcombe stay in third, 4 points behind East Grinstead, while Canterbury's third draw of the season leaves them in seventh.
We played very well in a lot of areas of the game. Just sadly conceding the goal near the end probably spoiled what was actually a really good performance. We probably should at 1-0 probably should have made the game safe. 2 and 3-0. We had plenty of chances throughout the game. If I take away the scoreline, which we might have been disappointed with, there was a lot of areas of our game we were very happy with.
Next, it was on to the men's team to see if they could get the better of one another in this Kent derby. But just like the women, Holcombe were to come up against a keeper in top form. The stricken Holcombe side could only field 13 players, with key squad members abroad or injured, and that showed. George Pinner forced a save one-on-one early in this game. Canterbury again were trying to force the issue and take advantage of the weakened Holcombe side, but Pinner was standing firm. Then into the second half, and it was Canterbury keeper Dickon Stubbings' turn to take centre stage, first saving this effort with his feet low down to the left. Then he produced one of the saves of the season. This Rob Field shot looked destined for the top corner, but an athletic save from Stubbings denied the Holcombe man to see the game finish 0-0 and earn Canterbury an unlikely point. The draw was a missed chance for Holcombe to go ahead of Wimbledon at the top of the table, while Stubbings' heroics helped Canterbury pick up their 4th point of the season.
I thought our corner defence and my goalkeeper tonight was outstanding. I think he was probably man of the match tonight. But we had 4 or 5 clear-cut chances to score first half, and we've got to learn to take those chances.
There was plenty of football action across the weekend. Here's a look at how the Kent sides got on.
Dartford was searching for a 5th straight win in the National League South when they hosted Whitehawk on Saturday. The Hawks, meanwhile, had been sliding down the table, having lost 5 on the bounce. The visitors had been somewhat of a bogey team for the Kent side in recent seasons, but the Darts drew first blood here after just 20 minutes. Ryan Hayes' curling effort clipped the bar on the way in to notch his 98th in Dartford colours. The second came 12 minutes later. The build-up was Route 1 courtesy of Darren Ibrahim's goal kick, but the finish was delicate, courtesy of Tom Murphy's chip. Whitehawk were given a lifeline when the referee harshly adjudged Elliot Bradbrook to have fouled former Barnsley defender Brian Howard. Up stepped Glenn Southam to halve the deficit. Any nerves were laid to rest 19 minutes from time though. Hayes' cross from the right found Murphy, whose deft touch allowed Andy Pugh to make the point safe. The Darts will wonder how they didn't grab a 4th, however. Murphy opted to head rather than volley the ball and somehow contrived to only hit goalkeeper Tom Stewart. 3-1 the final score. Ebbsfleet also made it 5 straight wins as they defeated Concord 4-0. Maidenhead dropped 2 points at Poole, allowing the Kent duo to close the gap on the league leaders. In the Ryman League South, Faversham entertained Walton Casuals looking for a 5th win in 7 matches. The Kent side were awarded a penalty on 24 minutes when Sam Buick was tripped in the box. The Faversham midfielder dusted himself down to give them the lead. Buick turned provider 8 minutes later when he fed Liam King, who was afforded far too much space to make it 2-0. Town got a third before the break. Casuals keeper Denzel Gerrard scored during an outfield cameo earlier on in the season, but perhaps he shouldn't have wandered outside his box here as King raced round him to score. Buick was at the heart of things again for Faversham's 4th. Driving past 2 defenders, he set up Josh Stanford for a simple tap-in. Despite the heavy scoreline, it was the Stags that got the goal of the game. Right back Jim Fenlon looping home a consolation. Faversham still had time for a fifth. Jamie Maxted lofted a precise through ball for Renford Tenue to run onto. The substitute rounded Girard before smashing home to complete the rout. Elsewhere, Ramsgate travelled to struggling Guernsey in the hope of continuing their good form under new chief Lloyd Blackman. It took just 6 minutes for them to take the lead, Aaron Milbank celebrating his birthday by converting a penalty. The Rams doubled their advantage just before the half-hour mark when Tom Chapman's cross evaded the Islanders' defence, allowing Alfie Paxman to prod home. The 3 points were wrapped up before the first 45 was over. Ollie Gray, the man heading home the third, as Ramsgate made it 16 points from a possible 18 under Blackman. Chatham's hopes of avoiding relegation were dealt a blow at home to fellow bottom 3 rivals Three Bridges. Veteran striker Ricky Gundry gave them a first-half lead with this blistering finish. And the Medway outfit missed a golden opportunity to get a cushion in the game. Ricky Freeman failed to convert a first-half penalty. They were made to rue that miss as Maxime Agnoli snatched a point for the visitors in the second half. The result means Chatham are 8 points away from safety. There wasn't any better news for Herne Bay as they lost to Tooting. Hythe kept their playoff aspirations alive with a routine win against bottom side Godalming, while Sittingbourne were well beaten by Cray. Gillingham stayed 17th in League One following a creditable 2-2 draw at promotion chasing Bradford City. Captain Josh Wright and defender Deji Oshilaja grabbed the goals. Maidstone suffered their third defeat in a row after losing 2-0 to Aldershot in the National League. It means they stay in the relegation zone, but they're only a point off of Southport. And finally, in the Ryman Premier, Tunbridge won away at Canvey, whilst Folkestone conceded a 90th minute penalty to draw 2-2 at Kingstonian.
And in ice hockey, Invicta Dynamo's title aspirations were ended by champions Chelmsford Chieftains on Saturday. The Dynamos were down 9-3 as Chelmsford picked up the points they required to clinch the title. The tone was set inside the opening 10 minutes as the Chieftains ran home 3 goals without reply. The Moes never recovered from their slow start as the visitors made it 4-1 after the first period and then 7-2 in the second. Dynamo's next game is away to Streatham Redskins on Saturday. And finally, Medway's Rachel Burford was in action for England in the Women's Six Nations at the weekend. The Red Roses centre featured in a stunning England comeback against the French that saw them 13-0 down by half-time. But second-half tries from Danielle Waterman and Amy Wilson-Hardy, coupled with brilliant kicking from Emily Scarrett, led England to a 26-13 win. Burford's England team will be in action on Saturday in a grudge match against Wales in Cardiff. And just before we go, let's bring you the results of January's goal of the month. In third place with 18% of the vote is this terrific solo effort from Carshalton's Tommy Bradford during their 6-1 win against Chatham. And at 2, it's Folkestone's Sam Hasler. He claimed 23% of the votes with this stunning free kick versus Havant and Waterlooville. But the clear winner was Guernsey's Jake Andrews. The Bristol City loanee picked up 45% of the votes with this delightful dink against Herne Bay. That's all from us this evening. We'll be back next Monday with all the latest sports stories from across Kent. Have a good week. Goodbye.